Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 5. We will present a meeting about how can we do for assist children and youth. The first meeting has been done and this is our second meeting. This is our member of working committee. Muhammad SYAWALUDIN become our chairperson. Our secretary is Muhammad NAIM FIKRI. Muhammad MUSTAQEEM and Muhammad AFZAN AFIFI is committee members, and lastly the participant is Abu AQIL. The agenda for the meeting will be as follows. First, welcoming speech by the chairperson. Second, apologize for absence. Third, confirmation of minutes of the first meeting. Fourth, matters arising. Fifth, the various decision of effective way to assist children and youth in facing challenging situation. Sixth, date of the next meeting. The meeting will be start after the countdown.
Assalamualaikum and good morning everyone. First for all, I would like to thank all of you for making yourself available for this meeting. This is our second meeting to discuss a way our company can situation due to the floods and COVID-19 pandemic. Before we proceed, I would like everyone to go over the minutes of our previous meeting. Do you have any amendment to make?
Excuse me, Mr. Syawal. I noticed an error on the budget amount in the minute. We actually allocate RM 100,000 ringgit as a budget for the disaster relief project, and we agreed that the amount should be retained.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mustaqeem. Yes, I remember that precisely. I will take note on this and make a necessary correction later. Is there any other amendment?
Yes, Mr. Shawal. I noticed an error typing the minute. We had our first meeting on 30 December 2021.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Abu. I take note on this and make necessary correction later. Is there any other amendment?
I think there is no other amendment.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, thank you, Mr. AFZAN and Mr. Naim. In this case, would someone propose that the minutes of the previous meeting be accepted, please?
I propose that the minute be accepted.
Thank you, Mr. AFZAN. Could someone second the proposal?
I second the proposal.
All right, thank you, Mr. Naim. I am hereby confirm the minute of the last meeting with an amendment. Before we proceed with the agenda, is there any arising matter that anyone would like to ask?
Yes, Mr. Syawal. I just would like to know if the report on a statistical study of children and youth victims involved in flood disasters in Selangor and Kuala Lumpur that have been received.
Okay, thank you, Mr. AFZAN. Mr. Naim, could you please respond to this question?
Yes, Mr. Shawal. We have received the report and we are currently processing the data for disaster relief project budget management.
Thank you, Mr. Naim. Is there anything else? Alright, if there is nothing more, let us move on to our meeting agenda. Well, our company has collaborated with several other agencies to respond to the government call to help Malaysia citizens who have been affected by the flood, especially for the children and youth. Therefore, there is an urgent need for us to think a way to help them. I would like to hear suggestions from all of you.
Mr. Syawal, we are living a life of COVID-19 and pandemic atmosphere, and such flood incident had a huge impact on the victims, especially among the children and youth. This incident has caused their health to be affected physically and especially mentally. Therefore, as per my suggestion, we could hire one or more medical officer to in charge for any medical circumstances happens on site, which provide treatments for the victim. In fact, this kind of expedite treatment are the basic security that we had to think first, as per our objective was safety first. So it become more comfortable for us if there are any consequences happen suddenly.
Thank you for your suggestion, Mr. Mustaqeem. I agree with you, but I somehow feel we should support charity fundraising. We can hand over funds to specific agencies to carry out the task of managing the funds to help the victims. It is because charity agencies harness the power of community. When people or community or company come together, they can make a big impact. Charities depend on individuals who commit to giving a small amounts, while donations from big groups are great. A community that cares about a charity and who they serve is essential. It's those small donations that add up. The power of community proves that when people care and come together, change is more than possible. We should, we should contribute this inspires to others around the world and encourage more participation in charities. Furthermore, charities agencies help communities become more sustainable. Countless charities agencies focus on sustainability and helping communities become more self-sufficient. Donated funds provide a strong foundation, whether they are used for training programs, school, and so on. When sustainability is a priority, individuals and communities can support themselves and no longer depend on donations. This benefits the world at large, so in that sense, there is a return on the donations. Besides, fundraising is not just a means of raising money only, but also a way to promote the message and goals of a charity. After all, without the goals being clearly explained and set out, nobody would want to donate. However, gaining funds is obviously important to the continued survival of a charity. Without funds, a charity simply cannot continue to promote itself or its chosen cause. This is especially true for non-profit organizations who require public funds to continue operating. Fundraising goes beyond survival. However, and with enough funds, a charity can spread itself across a wider area. Given enough time and funds, a charity has the potential to go global. It ensures that the charity can continue funding and helping its cause, especially for the children and youth during this pandemic. Those are my reasons why we should support the charity fundraising.
I think those ideas are brilliant, Mr. Mustaqeem and Mr. Abu. I agree with you too. As has been mentioned by Mr. Mustaqeem, I think we also need to help the children prepare to continue their school session. We can provide funds to the stable agency to manage student needs such as school uniform, school bag, stationery, and so on. In this way, it can to some extent raise the spirit of children to remain cheerful and enthusiastic in the face of this disaster. Do you all agree with me?
Yes, I agree with you, Mr. Shawal.
Thank you, Mr. Naim. So, Mr. Afzan, do you have any new idea?
Yes, I did. In my opinion, we should form a group of volunteers to help with the process of cleaning up after a flood and provide and educate equipment. There are some areas that have been hit by floods and are already dry and they need help for the cleaning up process. I think we can supply such as water jet, waterproof waterproof boots, shower buckets, heavy duty plastic bags, floor wiper and floor cleaner. I hope these items could help the victims in cleanup process. That's all from me.
I think that's a good idea, Mr. Afzan. As for me, I think we can make a support system to find specific jobs, especially for youth. We can collect part-time jobs that need workers or help them and preach to the youth to give them a chance to bounce back from the disasters they have experienced. Nowadays, we can see the dependence of youth on online platforms. Online support system should be established as a one-stop center or a platform for youth to obtain information and apply for jobs and job training programs by existing public and private companies. Examples of a platform for finding existing jobs are Jobs Malaysia and Job Street. However, both exist standalone. But before the youth start applying, we must remind them that an easy or best job is in the eye of the worker. It all depends on what's good fit for them. For example, if the youth are people who love to talk to anyone and everyone, being a product ambassador, brand ambassador could be a great fit. But if they are introvert who would rather work quietly on their own, there are other options that would most likely be a better fit for them. Keep that in their mind when they are receiving jobs options and considering which jobs they could do without working too hard. In the current PKP enforcement situation, it is difficult for youth to find employment physically. This platform is a virtual one-stop center that has all the important information about job opportunities, including marketability training. However, the creation of this platform requires long-term efforts and close cooperation between the government and employees. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Afzan and Mr. Naim. I think those ideas are brilliant. And for that, I would like to thank you, all of you, for taking part in giving your opinion and ideas. I'm afraid we have a few minutes left. Is there any other business to discuss?
Yes. Do we get some financial allocations to include in our reports?
Yes, this is a good question, Mr. Naim. Please state the expected budget that you need to carry out the task and send the draft of your budget proposal to me. I will try to get it approved and release it within 2 weeks. Is there any else to bring attention?
No, Mr. Shawal. Then and nothing else. There is nothing else to bring it to attention.
Alright, thank you. Since there is no other matter, let us bring this meeting to a close for today. Before that, let us recap the meeting outcome. Okay, to sum it up, we have five ways to assist the children and youths in facing this challenging situation, which is hire a medical specialist, support charity fundraising, provide funds to suitable agency to manage the student needs, create a group of volunteers for processing of cleaning after the flood, and make a supporting system to find a specific job for the youth. Okay, that's all. We will meet again in the next meeting on the 28th January. You have precisely 2 weeks to prepare for your reports. See you in the next meeting. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.